Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be suffering through TexTalks BattleTech Exodus to Elementals. I say suffer because the last episode was the definition of why sober was not a good choice. This time around, I have coffee. Yeah, I've been told that if I start drinking, it's not going to help because this is the light and fluffy section of the video still. I might have made my coffee a little Irish and already partaken of a little of it. Yeah, we'll see how much that helps. You guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. Tex is awesome, which is why this is going to suck, because he's going to make it hurt more, because he's very good at doing that. Him and his editor and anyone else who gave him ideas. So again, link below, hit it up. Let's get started.
In total, 8 other vessels followed suit in open mutiny. This mutiny's leader was Admiral Votok, who conspired with General Wilbur Brasso of SLDF Ground Command, among many other notable officers. These weren't simply green men shaky at the notion of deep space, but long-standing veterans who'd finally lost faith in what they thought was now a doomed endeavor. Their crews threw in with them because they too had suffered long campaigns and didn't want to die lost in space to what was now to them a thoroughly lost cause.
Okay, no, I'm good. Just, they're not wrong. It is doomed. Everything Kerensky wanted is going to fail. But they're at the point right now where if things were handled differently, it wouldn't have. God damn, it seems like the one thing Kerensky really wasn't good at was peace. He could do war because there's a goal given to him: win. Peace doesn't have that, and he never gave it to his people. And you can see that killing them right now, and they're literally killing the SLDF and all its remains because of that. God. We are seconds in, and I'm already just biting at the bit. Chomping at it, whatever.
General Alexander Kerensky wasn't going to allow the fleet to fracture.
No.
And so he acted immediately.
Is he gonna make an example of
end
them?
This threat. Rather than rush into a fight, taking it ship versus ship and risking damage to vessels he could not replace or properly repair, or worse, risk civilians being massacred in the crossfire, Kerensky made a calculated choice. Kerensky called in the one group he knew could get the job done right.
Fucker. There's only one group that I could think of right now that had any notoriety at all, and the bagpipes are calling. The pipes are calling. Oh, Danny boy, how did you go so wrong? Joking aside, though, I was honestly afraid right there. He'd be like, okay, you're going to mutiny. Destroy the ship. Instead, it's a surgical strike with mechs that are skilled and known for ignoring nukes.
Right. He called on what remained of the best, the goddamn Black Watch.
I hate this.
Kerensky called Major Elizabeth Hazen of the Black Watch to his side and gave her orders to bring the ships back into the fold, to stop the mutiny and restore good order by bringing the mutineers to immediate military justice. To face off against the entirety of a mutinous warship flotilla, to combat its crew's Marines and support staff, Hazen took only a force of 160 Black Watch Marines.
On the one hand, oh wait, no, that's Marines, not mechs. Oh shit, they're going in with just them and not the mechs. I thought they were just landing mechs on the ship, just some kind of crazy what the fuck. Okay, they're going full-on Marine-style infantry combat. I was not expecting that. I mean, it makes sense because literally Marines are a naval term. And this is literally the actual usage of them as they were intended originally, so it probably shouldn't be surprising. But does anyone else watch this right now and just get like this sense of impending, this is not good? Because, you know, they're not wrong. I know it's all Kerensky's bastards. Because technically they are going to count as that because he wasn't there as a father during most of their life. And while it wasn't his fault, it was emeritus. It technically does count. But I will use that term accurately and just defend it. Kerensky's bastards were the ones setting him up to this. But also, we know what's going to happen. Feels like she's shooting the right people for the wrong reasons, or vice versa. The wrong people for the right reasons. And we all know it doesn't matter.
The crew of the Prince Eugen probably knew they screwed up the moment the drop pods hammered into its hull.
Oh, they actually did
had
breaches.
A distinct advantage in numerical superiority, years of training, and total familiarity with the vessels they'd operated through a long
Doesn't matter
war.
when it's the goddamn Black
Watch.
Watch.
The Black Watch, however, had batshit crazy on their side. By this point, the battle-hardened veterans of the Black Watch were people who'd seen enough nukes to find them frankly fucking boring.
Okay, one, that is probably one of the most badass ways I've ever described, or ever heard described anyone. I've seen enough nukes that I find them boring. That is a boast. Like, if that wasn't told as an actual fact to describe their characteristics of being batshit insane and making sense, that would be a massive boast. Two, oh my god, it's pre-clan battle armor. That's so cool. Also, it's literally a spacesuit because they're literally in space breaching, so it's definitely airtight, and it's still cool. Sorry, this kind of stuff is just crack to me. I love all of this kind of old-style sci-fi art. You could definitely tell it's older. On the other hand, they didn't go for the crazy face revealing yet, and you could easily see how this does transition into the Elemental's armor later on, because they do have that oversized head and almost V-shape here, but less armored, so the packs are still there. Yeah, you can kind of see how it'll become more bulky as they add armor to it to make it the Elemental suit. That's actually kind of cool. And you can see like little nodding up the front where it was contained. There's like the overpass here. I know there's a term for that. Gorget? I don't actually know, and I'm not sure if that actually applies because that's more of a different term for armor. Whatever. Still. Oh, that's cool.
So a zero-G space battle boarding action was a walk in the fucking park, with zero fucks given, with no mercy on offer.
Oh, and you can't even forget the fact they know they're fighting the Black Watch is a massive morale killer.
All opposition. They hammered through the corridors like the fist of an angry god. In record time, the Black Watch secured the vessel with ruthless efficiency, scouring the corridors of any resistance. After a furious firefight, the admiral in charge lay dead, and the ringleaders of the mutiny were captured relatively unharmed.
Probably unrelated art.
The 8 other ships surrendered without a fucking shot, surrendering outright, absolutely terrified of the Black Watch and General Kerensky's wrath.
Okay, that actually went a lot better than I thought. Still just don't like it because wanting to leave isn't wrong. I know that they're probably saving the Inner Sphere from the overwhelming firepower they present, but at the same time, I'm sorry. I know I keep coming back to this, and I'm going to blame the coffee that I'm drinking. But we know the clans betray everything Kerensky initially wanted. Some more thoroughly than others, and some very thoroughly. To the point where I won't even make fun of them. Unlike the Jade Turkeys. But it's cool to see the Black Watch around. It's also painful to see that they're being used to stomp someone out who's not wrong.
Major Elizabeth Hazen dragged the surviving mutineers to a military court-martial
and shot them.
Held at the jump point out of system. The sentence was brutal. After all was said and done, all excuses heard and all defenses noted, every single officer at or above the rank of captain were summarily executed.
Thought so.
Major Hazen handed down the orders herself, and General Kerensky made his son Andrei take part in the firing squad because of the key part he played in encouraging the dissenters.
Oh.
I feel that this was a tad unfair. As previously stated, Nicholas Kerensky had convinced Andrei to speak with the mutineers before they had acted.
Oh, Kerensky doesn't... So on the one hand, Kerensky's information is not entirely missing. He knows about Andrei's role. But he only punished Andrei, which would imply he's unaware of Nicholas's assholery. Oh, joy.
And a ploy to effect changes on the Exodus in order to perhaps steer it or take charge and play hero or prove to his father that he true was a great man. Nicholas Kerensky had then opted to stay in the shadows, content to watch things play out regardless of the consequences. And Andrei could have told everyone of Nicholas's part, of Nicholas Kerensky's meddling and plotting and manipulation, but he kept silent and refused to say an ill word about his brother's doing and took his punishment like a man.
And thus, because he was loyal to his asshole brother, he doomed them to become the fucking clans. I think I just realized part of why I hate the clans, because I keep hearing it in my mind with a K, and it just, considering some of them do live down to that exact unfortunate comparison, and honestly undeserved, mostly. Yeah.
Nicholas Kerensky, meanwhile, admitted to nothing because above all, he was concerned with his own survival at this point.
Oh?
He refused to tell his father what he had done and how he had manipulated his brother and taken advantage of the situation. I find those are the qualifications of a goddamn coward.
Ooh, that's mighty strong coffee. Also, Amaris's fine juice, 100% real liquid. Straight from the dumpster behind the Golden Corral. I just find it funny as hell that they're even trying to match the shading technique and the art they're using for Nicholas alongside the juice box to make it fit in better. Then, honestly, it works pretty well. Nice little technique. It does actually work. If anything, if they made it a little tighter, it would fit perfectly with the sizing they have. But even then, it's close enough that it doesn't really matter. It does fit. Yeah, he's going full on Amaris. Yep, I thought beforehand that no, he's just going to be spoiled. I didn't realize he was going the other end of not suffering enough to suffering so much that it breaks his psyche and he decides to fuck it over. I'm going to win, and the way I define winning is going to hurt everyone else in the process. Thing is, I don't even blame Andre that much. He's an idiot. But he's an idiot for the right reasons. Nicholas, though,
But I digress.
Coffee to deal with
the
this.
fleet took the news of the attempted mutiny and the following reprisals rather hard. This, when compounded with the already negative morale within the Exodus fleet, resulted in an acute crisis of faith. This is because most people in the fleet could, on some level, understand why the mutiny happened. This was all beyond any reasonable time frame they could have ever conceived, as day by day they were jumping further and further off the damn map.
Losing everything and have no goal and no purpose other than to run away, but they're not sure where, and they don't know what they're running to or what they're going to do when they reach it, and some of them might even realize they're never going to. And this is their life forever. It just occurred to me, this is an example from another piece of media that came out slightly before this, and it was definitely what the original owners, I cannot remember who had control of the BattleTech IP at this time, whoever had this IP during, I think the 90s is when they started planning, in 2000s when they pulled it off. They were setting in lore bits here and there before building up to like the Wolf's Dragoons. This is definitely something they were referencing as a plot point they stole from Battlestar Galactica, oddly enough. And not the newish one from 2003 that was, honestly, I think was really good, even though it wasn't perfectly ended. It was very tight and at least had a satisfying ending, if not a perfect one. This is basically the Battlestar Galactica in the ships, military vessels, crews from all over, stuff doing running. And like Battlestar, they have an idea what they're going to do, but they're mostly just there to run. Except in Battlestar, so they have an enemy they can focus on to run away from. Here, again, it's always coming back to the fact they don't have a goal. If he could just lie to them and say, I have found a habitable planet we can build up from. That's as close as I'm going to get to his voice. That would have worked. I keep coming back to it. And the parallels right now, just with all of the people, is literally there and showing how they're losing faith because they've realized that they've signed up for something that won't work.
Deep into the unknown, and when somebody wanted to turn back for what seemed a
I can feel my temples throbbing. This is actually physically annoying to me.
Reprisal.
Not just mentally.
That's not to say General Alexander Kerensky had shaky reasoning in this case.
Not wrong.
After all, any vessel that went back would inevitably give away the SLDF's position, or worse, add their firepower to what was undoubtedly an exceptionally unstable inner sphere.
And he's not wrong, and that's what makes it annoying. Because there's no good answer except for him to do something we know he won't. Because he's never had to come up with a goal before. The goal was always obvious. Win.
Additionally, the breakdown of morale in any fleet jeopardizes its well-being and cohesion. Still, not many shared Alexander Kerensky's convictions. Long journeys into the unknown do strange things to the human soul.
Especially when they don't have a reason to do
General
it.
Alexander Kerensky realized the gravity of the situation, and that his sheer will wouldn't hold people together forever.
I'm going to disagree with Text on this one. His sheer will could have held people together forever. That's a thing that happens. Hell, they almost, and sounds like literally, did this to his son through a heavily bastardized version of making him some kind of glorious founder in their own lore. Or even what Blake did unintentionally by the word of Blake and Comstar worshiping him. Become someone who can give people a goal, something to aspire to. Kerensky, I know I keep coming back to this, and it keeps being obvious from the outside. He just needs to give people a goal, something they can work towards. It's too amorphous to say we're leaving for everyone else's own good. It's too nebulous to focus on. And just so that I can take a second to... Ooh, the coffee's a little stronger the deeper I get into it. Ooh, that actually does help. I will say, though, using this breakdown art that they've shown before from the actual Amar Civil War, but with the space motif over top of it spinning slightly, it does convey almost a psychotic madness of thoughts spinning out of control. Really good choice, yeah.
However, he realized that hope was the surest medicine for these seemingly hopeless
did he finally
times.
do it?
And so in the aftermath of the mutiny,
did he finally do it?
General Order 137 on the 5th of November, 2785.
Come on.
The combined address and military order laid the grounds for why they could not go back, and that they must instead task themselves with building a better future. At the core of what would later be called the Hidden Hope Doctrine lays the following passage.
Return to the inner sphere is impossible for us. Our heritage and our convictions are different from those we left behind. The greed of the 5 great houses and the council lords is a disease that can only be burned away by the passing of decades.
Well, what he's saying isn't bad, and I'm sure it's better. It's not concrete enough. It's never going to hold. I'm sure people will still aspire to this. And this might even be the rationale between a lot of the warding clans later on, who I can at least find passable. But he's giving too nebulous of a goal. He's giving, for him, for someone like him who had his devotion, this would be perfectly acceptable. It's a goal he can spend his entire life towards, like he devoted himself to the Star League. It's an idea bigger than himself. But it's not a goal. It's not impossible to devote yourself to this, but it takes a lot more. It's a step in the right direction, but this is why I said a lot in the previous videos, politics and war are not the same because they have such different skill sets. I, of course, never actually said that out loud. I said in the comments when I was able to think through my thoughts better. But I stand by that. If you're good at war, doesn't mean you're good at peace. And if you're good at peace, doesn't mean you're good at war. A wartime leader is a weird thing because it rarely happens that you have someone who's good at leading and also good at war. And vice versa. When you can find someone who's a good general but also a good leader, that is a very rare quality. Less so if you have a highly decentralized army and just moving things around is part of it. But the closer you are to the front, the less you're okay with letting other people do things. You become a micromanager, and that always fails. I might be showing my personal bias there, but I'm going to stand by that one. Kerensky is very good at war. He's very good at ideas and holding to them. And he's an amazing figure because of that. He's so freaking cool. But you can see he's trying right now. And it's not wrong. He's not failing. He's just not going far enough. He's being a figurehead. But he's being a figurehead for an army that knew what they were doing, not a ragtag bunch of essentially self-declared refugees. And that's what they are right now. They're not an army, they're refugees. And that's probably what makes the clans come up, because some of them want to go back to being an army. I have no idea if that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised, though. Also, wow, only decades. Yeah, I'm not going to drop that one. He thought it was only decades for the bullshittery of the houses to die out. I mean, he's only off by a couple of zeros. And by zeros, I mean 1 0 and a bunch of other numbers on top of that. Just... The stupidity of the clans, I might get annoyed with. The stupidity of the houses, though, that's a terminal condition for humanity in general. It keeps happening.
Even centuries.
Okay, that's still more accurate, but also still optimistic.
To slow or even cease, it will erupt again as long as there are powerful men to covet one another's wealth. We shall live apart, conserving all the good of the Star League and ridding ourselves of the bad, so that when we return, and return we shall, our shining moral character will be as much our shield as our battle mechs and fighters.
Oh, that burns. That is. Oh, that is some very strong coffee. Ooh, my eyes watering a bit. Oh, God, it's on my tongue now. That was probably not a good idea to go that strong. I finished most of that coffee. Whew. Ooh, now my skin's getting all warm and tingly. Okay, that one. Kerensky's an idealist. But everything he just said, man. Fuck. This is an example of kind of wishing I had watched this prior to Tukhead. Because I would have had more of an idea what the impact of that battle meant. And this would have hurt less. I don't... I think I'm also getting very close to the end of my coffee. But, I just... Fuck, man. Everything he just said is the exact opposite of how it went down. Some of the clans are really cool. Those were not the ones. And I mean, Wolf is pretty cool, but and Ghost Bear became really damn cool. Again, I love that story about how they won a planet with a football match. That just seems so obscenely neat that I just love it. But just everything he just said about the return and what he thought it would be and how they would uphold the best traditions of humanity so they could be the saviors. It hurts because I like what he's saying. I like that he aspired to this. And I know it's all for nothing.
The words were chosen carefully to remind people that this was their choice to prevent the greater potential damage to the inner sphere by staying. He reminded them that by their sacrifice, through committing to this exodus, to renewing their pledges to a noble cause, they were preserving, in some small way, the Star League, what it stood for. And by such noble conduct, they would distinguish themselves forever from the savages they left behind.
Nope. No, that's I just gonna finish this off in one go. Okay, so yeah, I've reached my limit of dramatic irony, taking a howitzer to my dick for the night. And more accurately, my liver. Yeah. People keep telling me this is the happy section. It gets worse, apparently. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think it's going to be easier when I can just hate Nicholas, because I'm not emotionally attached to him beyond the, well, you're a giant disappointment factor. Kerensky, though, It hurts so much because he was built up in the previous Amara Civil War videos as being as cool as he actually is, and as humane and amazing and competent, and he's an idealist who has the power to back it up. God damn, is he not a politician or a peacetime leader? And he's running a peacetime force as a military leader, and it is not going to work. And we know that, and everything about that. That wasn't text just being hypothetical or giving a quote or paraphrasing. No, actually, it was him. It was literally him giving a quote. If it was a paraphrase, I'd be like, okay, maybe he's just being a little poetic. I'll deal with it. If he was just saying, this is kind of what happened, I could deal with it. No, he's quoting. This is what actually was said. And knowing what comes next and how every single word was wrong. As uplifting as his message to the Inner Sphere was about why they left, to show that he wasn't broken, this is the exact opposite. And hearing his words about how he's trying to be that shining beacon, and us knowing that it's going to fail. God damn, this coffee was not strong enough. All the same, Tex, you did a great job. You son of a bitch. Could you have fucked it up today and make it hurt less? Even the music choice at the end. It's an uplifting tune, but they're playing it slow and soft. So even though it's normally this is a relaxing bit, it gives the altered effect of being ominous and sad. Like a dirge that hasn't really started yet, but it's that little preamble you get when it's about to. God damn. So all the same, everyone, you guys know the deal. There's a link below to the original video. Hit it up. And warn me if I should go for stronger coffee or maybe switch to a mallet. See, with the mallet, I might be able to wipe some unpleasant memories from my mind. That seems like it might be a good choice. Yeah, let me know. And if there's anything I missed, tell me that as well. I read most of the comments, but sometimes I just don't get shown a few of them. I don't know why. Don't always say anything because I'm socially awkward as fuck and I have no idea what to say most of the time, but I do read them if I can. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go destroy the rest of my liver.